All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Before we get into the picks for this week, I do want to mention that 9 to 5 has its first official partnership. That's going to be with Fedex.com. Fedex.com is your fantasy sports portfolio, the fantasy sports stock exchange. Yes, you heard me right. Stocks are finally here for fantasy sports, and Fedex has you covered, especially for the Fedex Cup playoffs, where they're giving you 3 weeks of contests, all free to play, all with cash prizes, and then one grand prize at the end of the Fedex Cup playoffs. Top producing portfolios would be the ones with the payouts. It's a fun, exciting time at fandex.com. Make sure to join. Link is going to be in the description below of this video. Head over to fandex.com. Start investing today. All right, so breaking down fandex.com a little bit further. So it is the fantasy sports stock exchange, guys. Simply put, you can buy, sell, and short shares of either players, especially for golf. Obviously, that's going to be the main focus, but you can do it for teams as well. Think about NFL season coming up as well. You can easily do that. So I should start off with saying, yes, this is the first official partnership of 9 to 5 Sports. And really, you know, I've had a lot of opportunities to go with some other companies for this, but I want to kind of put my brand or put my name behind companies that I like, and I really like the thought process behind fandex.com. This is kind of a product I think should have always been out there, and it's such a product that gets me so excited for because, you know, just looking at Charlie Hoffman at the start of the year, I came out and said multiple times, I think Charlie Hoffman's going to have a comeback season. It'd been great to be able to benefit from something like that. Or like Roger Sloan the last 3 weeks where he's highly undervalued. It'd be great to be able to benefit from that. And now we get that here with fandex.com. Also, you know, like I said, I think that this is going to be kind of the wave of the future. It wouldn't shock me if like 2 years down the road that if this is pretty much the normal kind of DFS or betting thing, this would be the norm, the top dog out of those. So wouldn't be too shocking there, but really the goal of this for the FedEx Cup playoffs is to get you guys acclimated to Fandex for the 2022 season, which obviously at the start of a season, the buying opportunities are going to be a lot better. But that being said, we got the FedEx Cup playoffs here, guys. It's going to be a fun 3-week competition with the Northern Trust, BMW Championship, and the Tour Championship as well. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of contest theory, game theory involved here with you want to get players that are going to play into the Tour Championship if you're buying them. You could also short sell some people that you think might struggle and not make it to the Tour Championship as well. The contests here are going to be free to play. They're going to be weekly cash prizes with one big one at the end, which is also exciting. So it's free to play, but you're going to have a chance to win some money as well. And then just kind of why as a whole? Well, one, I do think that this is going to be such a fun thing to do just in general. It's just going to be another way to win as well. And honestly, I think it's going to be an easier way to win. It's going to be a much more satisfying way to play kind of DFS sports as a whole, daily fantasy sports as a whole. So I'm pretty excited for it. I hope you guys are. Make sure to click the link in the description below to join the contest this week. But now let's get into it. We got the Northern Trust. All right, guys, so getting into the course breakdown, the tournament breakdown here for the Northern Trust. Now, it is going to be a field of 124 players. That means that there is going to be a cut. Okay, it's the last cut event that we have for the 2021 season. It's going to be played at Liberty National. Now, we did see this tournament a couple of times now on the tour in 2013 and in 2019. Now, we did see it in 2009 as well, but, you know, that's so far back that I didn't want to look at data for that. So for the key stats, we drew in the tournament data from 2013 and 2019. We're able to see it's kind of the exact same tournament as last week in terms of key stats. We're going to be looking at ball striking heavily, par 4 scoring heavily, birdie to bogey ratio, good drive percentage, strokes gained approach, and an effective scoring. Now, strokes gained tee to green is also going to be key, but obviously we're dialing in with the strokes gained approach a little bit more there. So really going to be a fun week when you look at it that way, just because we haven't seen it that much. It is going to be much more of a small sample size. So, you know, I wouldn't go crazy with anything too much, although I will say, you know, the top stat fits for the 9 to 5 model have been really good so far. Just some of the players are going to be good stat fits for you. Not really going to be shocking at all. We're looking at John Rahm, Colin Morikawa, Daniel Berger, Abraham Ancer, Paul Casey, Webb Simpson, just kind of rounding out that. And then just looking at kind of recent form, we see a lot of players that have been, you know, playing well. Really no sticker shock here at all. John Rahm ranking out 1, Colin Morikawa after that, Jordan Spieth, Paul Casey, Harris English, Daniel Berger, and then Rory casually coming in there as well. That one did surprise me a little bit. If we want to go down a little bit further, 9-to-5's boy Roger Sloan is casually popping up there as well. Don't mind him as a pick this week. But then we're looking at event history. So event history, we had to get kind of interesting with it, if you will. So we are going to be looking at the Northern Trust in general for the last 3 years. That's going to be H1, H2, H3. Obviously, the H2 there in 2019, that's going to be the most significant because obviously they played at this tournament that year. But we're also going to be looking at last week's tournament for comp course history as well, because the key stats are all the exact same from what they were last week. So obviously, that's going to be a nice indication of players that go out and play well. So with that being said, the players that have good course history or comp course history, if you will, Scotty Scheffler, Daniel Berger, DJ, Harry Higgs, who actually has some hometown narratives here, Webb Simpson, Adam Scott, and Victor Hovland. So the reason why I'm looking at just the Northern Trust tournament history for 3 years out of the comp course data is because I do think that that's going to matter. Players that had went out and played well in that 125-man field, in that kind of maybe you don't have to play well to go on, or you do have to play well to go on. There is that mindset there, kind of like a WGC event, but it's also kind of a make or break point for people. I want to see those players that have been doing well mentality wise. Now let's get into the picks for this week. All right, guys, so going to be breaking it down like I always do. The top 4 picks in each price point range. Going to start off with Jon Rahm, the favorite this week. Now, it makes a ton of sense. I already mentioned that the course history is from 2019 for H2. And then we're just going to look at the last 3 starts for the Northern Trust Championship. He's finished 6th, 3rd, and miscut. So pretty good, recent starts for the Northern Trust. And then Staffit-wise, all of his stats are freaking T8 or better. That's absolutely amazing. We know that he's just been a stellar player. Top in stat rank, top in recent form rank. And if I just wasn't looking at the Northern Trust as a whole, he'd probably be one of the best in course history rank or comp course history rank. So yeah, Jon Rahm to me, just a standout play. Second best player in the 9-to-5 model. Absolutely like that. Really going to be tough for me to avoid him as a pick. Then just looking at Jordan Spieth. Okay, 6th place finish in 2019 at this course. He's been playing some great golf. 3rd best in recent form rank. 14 straight made cuts in a row. Coming off of a 12th place finish at the FedEx St. Jude. Really his only struggle is par 4 scoring and ball striking. Everything else is top 25 or better, and we know how much Jordan Spieth struggled at the start of the year. So to see him still a pretty decent stat rank in most of the key stats that we're looking at this week, I do like that. Going to be chasing that recent form. It is a little bit to pay up for him. I would say paying down for these 2 players makes a lot more sense. We got Scotty Scheffler, who finished 4th at the Northern Trust in his last time out. The thing about Scotty Scheffler is he tends to play better in these bigger events as well. We look at him, he's going to be a top 17 stat fit. Yes, he has the best course history, technically comp course history, because he finished 4th. That it is what it is. That's a small sample, I know, but that's all the data that we have. Recent form rank, top 17. Overall, he's going to rank out as a top 3 pick in the 9-to-5 mile this week. 9.3, that's a great price point for him. But really, kind of the easy play this week to me is going to be Daniel Berger at this price point. Really don't get it. Kind of shocking to me. A 3rd place finish and a 15th place finish at the last 2 Northern Trust. You look at the key stats, top 20 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at. Has made 7 straight cuts in a row. Really just checking all the boxes. Top 3 staff fit, great comp course history rank, and then top 6 in recent form rank. Overall ranks as the best player in the 9-to-5 mile this week. Going to be tough to find reasons not to play him this week. Once again, before we get into the mid-tier plays, I want to mention that this content for the Fedex Cup plays is going to be sponsored by Fedex.com, your fantasy sports stock exchange. Get started on your fantasy sports portfolio today. All right, moving down into that low tier, another quality pick to me this week is going to be Webb Simpson. Guys, he has been playing really well, and he always seems to play well at this time of year. He's had a 6th, 18th, 20th, and 7th place finish. When we're looking at that comp course history, he's made 3 straight cuts in a row with a 7th and a 15th place finish most recently. He's going to be a top 6 stat fit as well. He ranks 1st in par 4 scoring, 3rd in birdie to bogey ratio, and then he also ranks top 15 in effective scoring, the 9-to-5 proprietary stat there. So yeah, Webb Simpson really looking like a great pick. I know the worry with him is that he might start off slow, and he did do that last week with that double bogey, and he bounced back pretty fast there. Moving on to Harris English, another 9-to-5 guy for us. Top 15 pick in the 9-to-5 mile. Really hard to deny how well Harris English has been playing. Ranks 5th best in recent form rank. 8 straight made cuts in a row. Coming off of that kind of disappointing week at the FedEx St. Jude. He's going to have kind of 2 weeks to recuperate from that. what should have been a victory, but he's coming into a tournament in which should be kind of a perfect tournament for him. Overall, top 15 pick in the 95 mile this week. I really like him. The one player I'm kind of worried about is going to be Paul Casey, but his recent form has been so good that I just kind of think I have to go with him as a pick. Now, like I said, Northern Trust starts. It's kind of maybe a mentality here. 49th and his 60th place finish, guys. He might have had his spots already secured and he just wasn't as mentally sharp or mentally as focused for that tournament going into it. And that could have been why he struggled. We'll see. But top 5 stat fit, 2nd in strokes gained approach, 7th in strokes gained tee to green, top 35 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at. He's in the 4th best recent form, 13th best pick in the 95 mile this week. You can really do a fair and balanced approach just with these guys in the 8K range. Then moving down a little bit lower, I will say Adam Scott casually catching my eye as well. 5th place finish here at this tournament or at this course in 2019. Played well at the Northern Trust in the past. He seems to be kind of playing better recently. I said in last week's videos that you kind of worry about the upside with Adam Scott. It just hasn't been there, although it had been trending in the right direction. Obviously, it came really close to finally taking down a tournament in that 6-man playoff. Well, I think he's going to have a good chance to top 10 again this week. 8.4, yes, it's a lot to pay up for him, but it's a price point where I'm going to be fine with it. Now moving down into the low tier price point plays, there are a ton of quality options down here, guys. It's going to be up to you to kind of figure out where you want to go. I will start off with Kevin Na. Kind of good course history, comp course history, top 25 there, top 25 in recent form rank, 4 straight May cuts in a row with a 2nd and a 23rd place finish. When we talk about course fit, this one where par 4 scoring tends to matter, kind of your approach shots and not making many mistakes matters. I kind of like Kevin Na. He's a guy that can obviously get hot, although this is kind of a dead price point range to me this week. If you want to go with last week's winner and Kevin Kisner, I wouldn't blame you as well. He had a 12th place finish in 2019. Obviously, coming off that victory last week, good. Once again, this course is pretty much, it's not set up the same, but the key stats are going to be the exact same. And Kevin Kisner obviously went on and played well at that event. 4th place finish at the Northern Trust in 2020 as well. So, it's kind of coming in pretty well. The worry with him was that he hadn't had the upside. He showed it last week, and he could easily show it again. This week, he does want to make that Ryder Cup as well. So I don't think we have to worry about kind of the mental hangover coming off of a victory because he's going to be highly motivated to go out and play well. And then going lower, this is kind of my struggle this week, is that there's a ton of quality picks down low. We can start off with the guy I already mentioned, Charlie Hoffman, who if you hadn't made investment in early on Fedex, probably would be sitting pretty there on that Fedex leaderboard. But just looking at Charlie Hoffman, 7K, just a cheap price point for him. Yes, I guess the worry with him would be that his worst start at the Northern Trust in the last 3 years was in 2019 when we saw it. But a 13th and a 20th place finish, we like that. He is coming off of a miscut as well, but prior to that, have been playing great golf, and that's probably why we're getting him at this discount. Overall, not a bad stat fit. The only thing that worries us is that par 4 scoring ranks 121st. Overall ranks out as a top 30 pick in the 95 mile this week. I absolutely like that. And then kind of, I don't know if this is cheap or not. Well, we'll start off with Jonathan Vegas before we get into the values here. Johnny V is just at such a cheap price point, it doesn't really make sense to me, guys. So he's finished 38th, 15th, and 15th for comp course history. We'd love to see that. 18 straight May cuts in a row, with pretty much all of them being top 20 finishes or better. He comes in as a top 10 pick in the 95 mile this week. Overall, 37th stat fit, but we look at it kind of like Roger Sloan last week. All of his key stats, nothing too alarmingly bad. They're all just kind of consistent there. Obviously, he's playing great golf, going to give him a little bit of a boost there. Johnny V makes a ton of sense. And now we move down. I'm cheating this week because Seamus Power, I wanted to include him in the low tier picks, but there's so many good low tier picks, and there's like 2 standout value picks if we include Seamus Power. So I'm doing that this week. 9 straight May cuts in a row. Yes, he did struggle on the weekend. Last week, finishing 60th, possibly just looking ahead. I'm not really sure, but the thing is, he's a top 12 stat fit this week, and he's top 12 in the 95 mile this week. You can get a top 12 pick at 7K. The guy that had been in great recent form, really, up until last week, but he still made the cut. That's highly appealing to me for a guy that's top 10 in birdie to bogey ratio, and then top 30 or better in pretty much every other key stat that we're looking at this week. That is highly appealing to me. And then looking at Roger Sloan, probably the 2 strangest things that have occurred this season. were Phil Mickelson's major championship win that kind of came out of nowhere, and then Roger Sloan not being chalk last week. It was just, I really don't get it. I've tried to look at maybe some stats here and there that would have suggested him having a bad week, and the only thing I can come up with is that kind of the thing that I stated is that he's had one bad round over the past few tournaments. Heck, if he didn't have a bad round over the past 3 tournaments, he would probably have 2 victories. Like, he's been that good other than one bad round. Just strange last week that he wasn't chalk. I kind of feared that people are going to realize that they messed up last week and then he will be chalk. And then the way that always works out is that he misses the cut this week. Still, I like him. He made the cut at this event in 2019. We'd love to see that. Obviously in great recent form. Top 26 in recent form, but if we were to like narrow it down to the last 3 weeks, he'd be a lot higher than that. 6 straight made cuts in a row, a 6th, a 2nd. Like I said, 3 straight tournaments now in which he's been in contention. Top 31 stat fit, top 16 pick in the 9-5 mile this week. Pretty incredible that we can get a top 20 pick at 6.8 this week. I like that a lot. And then we're just going to go down a little bit lower. Troy Money Merritt. He played well at this event in 2019. Played well last year at the Northern Trust as well. Missed the cut in 2018. But overall, we know what we're getting with Troy Merritt. It's kind of just a hit or miss option. But when it hits, we've seen, just bringing up Troy Merritt and Roger Sloan, 2 players that I had at like 100 or more to 1 odds that got into a playoff and couldn't close out, and played pretty well up until that point. So kind of frustrating there with those 2, but hey, the point is that these 2 value picks have shown that upside. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that upside once again with Troy Merritt. He hasn't really been a top stat fit in any of these tournaments that he pops in. You just know to kind of play him in tournaments that fit his golf game and hope we catch that upside with him. And then just looking at the last player this week, it's a guy that's kind of caught fire. I like the price point of him. Got to be able to find him here. Probably just going to have to type him in. I will. He's been playing better his last 2 weeks. And he's a guy that used to be just, you see him and you roster him 2 years ago. That's Scott Piercy. So 4 straight made cuts in a row, coming off of a 15th and a 3rd place finish. We like that. He's also made 3 straight cuts at the Northern Trust as well. Like to see that. Top 55 pick in the 9-5 mile. AK that ranks out as someone that should make the cut. And we're getting him at 6.5. That's a pretty good price discount. Now, yes, I'd rather pick any of those other value picks that I mentioned previously, but if you're really trying to studs and duds it, he's not going to be a bad option for you guys this week. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Make sure to watch the next 2 videos that I post. It's going to be the core plays / buys, and then we're going to get into the fades, sleepers, and value picks here. Once again, look for Fedex.com. Link is going to be in the description below. Hope you guys join. You guys can try to beat me if you guys want to. Probably not going to happen. Just kidding. I bet like 15% of you guys will beat me on Fedex. But I plan on taking down 1 week in there. Maybe not the grand prize, but I'm going to get a W on one of the weeks. Probably this week because it's a cut-based event. And I don't know, maybe not. The no-cut events have been the 2 best weeks for 9-5 this year. I don't know. We'll see. But the best thing about it is that, we're not playing against each other. I mean, we are playing against each other, but it's not at the mercy of another member of 9-5, which is what I love about it. We're all playing to have fun, but we're all playing for a cash prize, but we're not playing against each other. We're playing with each other, if that makes sense. So I'm excited for it. All right, that's all I have for you guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.